Okay, honestly, I don't even know where to begin with this one. Miami lost 45-31, very disappointing to say the least. It's a complete disappointment, just a terrible loss. It's one of the worst losses I've ever covered in my 20 years at Miami covering this team. You know, I think back immediately to that FIU loss a few years ago. Middle Tennessee got in control of the game early on and never let up. Miami found themselves down 10-0 and 3 plays into the game without even gaining a yard. Very disappointing. Quarterback change. Continued to give up big plays on defense. In the past, we have talked about this early in the year. They were giving up 30, 40-yard passes. Today, they gave up 4 pass plays of at least 69 yards, including a 98-yard touchdown. Miami was just trying to come back into the game, but kept giving up big plays. 45 points to a Middle Tennessee team that had struggled offensively this year. Got blown out by James Madison to start the year. This was not necessarily a great team, but it was a great effort by Middle Tennessee. Very disappointed on a lot of fronts on both sides of the ball, running, passing, whatever it might be. Just a complete disappointment. Drop in the comments, let me know what you guys think of this game. How disappointed are you? It really is tough to put this one into words, but I'm gonna try to do my best. Okay, I definitely wanna get into the quarterback situation. I'm gonna talk about that, my thoughts on that, on what transpired today. First off, I wanna mention Ja'Kai Clark said after the game, he did not feel like this team was prepared. He did not like the energy in pregame warmups. He was the only player of the 4 that talked. The quarterbacks didn't talk. You know, Jalen Rivers talks. The 2 guys from the offensive line, Javare Harvey talked, as well as Cam Kitchens. Mario Cristobal said it's a poor job by him, poor job by the whole organization. There's no doubt about it. A lot of blame that can go around. But the fact that Ja'Kai said this team was not prepared is very disappointing. They did not come into the game with the right intentions, and it showed up on the scoreboard. They give up immediately the field goal there. Tyler Van Dyke throws a pick on the first play and a pick 6 on the third play there. It was complete disappointment that this team was not ready to play. I know many of you, I included, was expecting Miami to come away with a big win in this one after what happened against Texas A&M, but now they dropped to 2-2. A lot of question marks all across the board, but let's start right at quarterback, and I want to talk about what I saw there. So Miami goes into the break at down 24-10. They grind out this 15-play drive right before halftime. So you're hoping they come out of the break because they had the ball, and you figure, look, if they can just get it within a touchdown, and then regardless if this was going to get ugly, whatever it was, you just wanted to see Miami pull away with the win, regardless of how ugly it was looking in the first half. That did not happen. Tyler Van Dyke got the first 2 series in the third quarter. Jaden Harris goes into the game. Corey Couch gets hurt, gives up a big long touchdown. Miami's down 31-10. A change at quarterback was made. Tyler Van Dyke finished today 16-32 for 138 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. He gets taken out of the game. Coach goes with Jay Garcia. And the way it was looking with Tyler, and this is not a one-game thing. We've talked about this against Texas A&M. I thought there were signs against Southern Miss that were not good. And I think it's been a culmination of things that led to Tyler Van Dyke not having a good game today, not able to get out of this, not able to figure out the new offense. That's exactly what Coach Cristobal said after the game. He felt like, just it's a new scheme. Yes, he's missing some receivers from last year. Also, Xavier Restrepo's hurt. But it's a new scheme, and for whatever reason, regardless of what's going on with Tyler, and certainly there was a lot of expectations on Tyler going into this year with how he ended last year. Last year he snuck up on people. A lot of attention on him in the offseason to have a good year. He's draft eligible. There was a lot of discussion of that. Now the discussion is surrounding him. Will he remain the starting quarterback at Miami? So Jay Garcia comes into the game. Everybody's cheering. It was actually really interesting because they actually had a huddle right there on the sideline. And before he actually went in, you could hear the crowd at the stadium really cheering for Jake. You knew he was going in. And he immediately comes in, strikes deep. I thought he showed good pocket presence for the most part. I thought he did a good job avoiding the rush, staying in there to make some throws, made some tough throws. He finishes 10 of 19 for 169 yards, but he does get some touchdowns on the board, and he's able to throw deep. He gets some guys involved. Keyshawn Smith was one of those guys. I thought it was good. Frank Ladson was involved early in the first half. But Jake Garcia comes into the game, and one of the things that was said after the game was just that Jake's one of these guys. He's just a louder guy. He's louder than Tyler, a more vocal guy, certainly his personality, but the players are saying this. Now, will he remain the starting quarterback at Miami? Honestly, I don't think it's any question. I think he's got to start the next game against North Carolina. Tyler Van Dyke had opportunities this year. He goes 2-2, did not get the job done at Texas A&M, did not get the job done today against Middle Tennessee. For whatever reason, for a lot of reasons, Tyler Van Dyke and the offense has struggled. I think you make the move. I think you go from there. I don't think that there's any question that you got to go with Jake Garcia to start this thing out. I think if Mario Cristobal wants to make a statement, he will do this immediately and say, we're going to go with Garcia. We'll see how it plays out. But we are making a change because changes need to be made with this team. And it's not necessarily that it's all on Tyler. Certainly the receivers have had issues. Certainly there's questions of what offense is best for Tyler. And Josh Gaddis deserves a lot of blame too for what's happened already this season so far. As an offensive play caller, this is the offense he wants to run. There are some question marks. I definitely want to hear what you guys have to say about his offense. Initially, I just want to say that I feel like that there's just a lot of plays that, whether it's bunch formation stuff that does not get a lot of opportunities to the receivers. I think it really helps out a defense when you're bunching things up quite a bit. I think there's a lot of short throws, a lot of out throws. I also think that there's some indicators with the offense, just watching play by play before it comes up, before the ball is snapped. You can kind of tell if you're watching whether you think it might be a run or a pass. I thought just an example of that, I thought early on, they go to Brashard Smith on a run there. He was in the slot on the right side. He goes off to the left. They give him the ball there. And I think if you look at it, they had Elijah Arroyo, a tight end, split out wide as a wide receiver so he could be that blocking receiver. And Will Mallory was on that side as well at tight end. So you had two tight ends off to the left side. I think that's a good indicator that they're going to set up something there. I just felt like there's just a lot of that. I feel like there's a lot of indicators going on with Josh Gaddis' offense, and certainly Brashard Smith unable to get anything going. But that's just one example. There's many. I think that's certainly things that need to be adjusted or looked at moving forward, with this offense, because I think there are some things that they've got to get corrected for the next game. And it's not just about the next game, it's for the rest of the season. There's no question, because of what's happened these last 2 weeks and an underwhelming performance against Southern Miss. Although they did pull away, with a 30-7 win, there are a lot of question marks with this team. They've got to get things corrected, or they're going to continue to falter in games, and come up with disappointing losses. Once again, I think Miami's got to go with Jake Garcia in this one because of how things have struggled, and I think Jake did come in. I think he does have some ability, and we will see if it is a quarterback issue or if it's an offensive issue. But I think from what we saw today, because Jake was able to get the ball going a lot more than what we saw with Tyler, I think you've got to give him that opportunity. And if Mario Cristobal, because he's new here at Miami, he's 4 games in, if he really wants to preach this thing about, how you got to earn your job and based on your play and your performance and all of these things, I think going with Garcia is going to send a clear message that no matter who you are, what you've done in years past, that you've got to be able to deliver. And frankly put, Tyler Van Dyke is not delivering so far this season, and there's no better time to make the switch than now. Flipping it to the defense, because this was not all an offensive issue game. The defense certainly gave up too many big plays. They had chances to really just hold Middle Tennessee down in the second half in particular, to allow their offense to get into the game as they were attempting to do, and they just kept giving up big plays. The 98-yard touchdown was extremely disappointing, extremely deflating. Not only does Miami not score there inside the 2, but they flip it over, they give the ball back, and immediately give up a 98-yard play. DJ Ivey in coverage, and a lot of this was going on with Miami's cornerbacks. A lot of one-on-one coverage, man-to-man coverage. I asked Coach Cristobal about that, and he said, yeah, that's exactly what happened in this game, with giving up the big plays. They just got beat. And I think Kevin Steele's got to look at this team. I thought going into it, it is interesting that you're going to man up, but certainly you're expecting to be able to man up on defense, guarding what Middle Tennessee was bringing to the table at the receiver position, but it was not working. I thought Miami should have made adjustments during the game, made more adjustments, sit back in zone a little bit more, make Middle Tennessee beat you with a 10 to 15 play drive, not these 1 or 2 play drives where you can strike on a big play. And that's what happened. And that's ultimately what devastated Miami in this game, giving up 45 points. With the big plays, those 4 pass plays that I've talked about accounted for over 300 yards of offense for Middle Tennessee there. And they finished with over 500. So certainly they could have done a much better job defensively. come up with the big play. Cam Kitchens did have a nice interception, a positive to talk about there, but there were not very many positives in this game. A lot of things just need to get corrected. And I think, honestly, we could talk about positions and position groups and coaching and all these things, but there are a lot of things that need to be corrected, whether it's player personnel, going with different guys, different position groups that need to improve their play, or coaching adjustments, or coaches need to adjust their philosophies there. But really, I think one big factor that popped up to me, struck me a little bit after the game, listening to the players talk. I've touched on this before, in years past. I felt like the players have lacked, and coaches and everyone around this program has really lacked a true perspective on what's going on with what's going wrong. And I felt like that again after the game. I felt like some of the players just talked too much about, look, we'll get over this game, we have to execute better, we have to do these things better. And look, as fans, I know you guys don't want to hear that. You want to hear more emotion. You want to hear that this stuff is unacceptable, because that's how you guys feel. And I know that that's what you want to hear from the players. You want to know that things are going to get corrected. It's going to be hard to know exactly what's going on within the team. We've not had access at practice, so it's tough to know. Are they practicing well? What are they doing? Was this actually going to pop up in a game? Because we don't really know, because we don't see it with our own eyes. We can hear how everything might be going well from people within the program, but seeing it for your own eyes would certainly do a lot. And we're not able to see it, so we're certainly going to report as much as possible. We, as in me, the guys on Inside the U, and all of the media members covering this team. So we're going to do our best to cover the team, but it makes it hard when we're not able to be out there. So we'll see if some adjustments are made in practice. Coach did say they are going to practice through the bye week. We will see how things turn around, or if they don't, if it's going to continue to tailspin. It's very disappointing. There's no doubt about it. It was a season with expectations. This team was picked to win the Coastal Division. They certainly still can, because they have not played a conference game. And essentially, I know that's going to be taught, that they're 0-0 going into conference play, and that's true. But they're going to continue to rack up losses if these issues are not corrected on both sides of the ball. Miami unable to run the ball at all today. About 38 carries for about 61 yards there based on the stats, but certainly disappointed in that area. Like I said, I wrote a column before the game where I said Miami needed to pass the ball because teams are going to stack the box against them. That's exactly what Middle Tennessee did. They threw another guy in the box, tried to play a numbers game there, and it worked out to their favor. Miami's going to continue to see this if they cannot get the passing game going, whether it's receivers, whatever they do at quarterback now, as Miami has a mess of a situation because they're not getting production there, and they might have to go with a new guy. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up. I talked a little bit here. There were a lot of thoughts and emotions or thoughts on what I wanted to say in this video as the game was going on. After the first quarter, I wanted to do one of these instant reaction videos because I had a lot to say about what I was seeing early on in the game. Unfortunately for Miami, and unfortunately for you guys, they were unable to pick it back up. We will see how everything goes forward, but I want to thank you guys for your support. This is a time where it's really difficult to support the program or the channel or the website. I know, because there's a lot of stuff you guys don't even want to hear. You want to tune it out, and I don't blame you. You should be disappointed with what you've seen from this team so far. We will see how things go, but I just want to say that I appreciate you guys for tuning into this video and for everything else. I do have some things I've been working on, and try to improve the channel. Hopefully I can get to that in the near future, but I know not as many people will probably watch because of how things have gone on the field. I'm going to control what I can control. We will see how things go. Thanks again for watching. Definitely drop in the comments. Let me know what I missed. What is something that you find is really striking with this team that you're really concerned about? Or is there certain things that are positive with this team that you want to point out too? Keep it clean as always, and hopefully you guys have a good rest of the weekend. Stay safe from the storm, and take care.